So the Switch 2 and Mario Kart World are finally upon us. And after quite a few hours of playing this game now, I have some thoughts. Not all of them negative, but not all of them positive. But I will say that I do think the positives outweigh the negatives for Mario Kart World. I guess let's start off with the biggest, stickiest band-aid of them all. The one that you peel off and it pulls all your arm hairs out and you're like, oh, my hair. Oh, that hurts. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Right out the gate. I don't think this game is worth $80. It's a really solid game, don't get me wrong. But there's nothing that this game in particular does any differently or much better than any other game. I mean, I'm glad I got the bundle. I'll put it that way, because technically I got it for about $50, the Mario Kart portion of this bundle. And I seriously think that's a sweet spot. That's a sweet spot for this game. $50 Mario Kart World, absolutely. Hell yeah. $80 was gonna be a tough sell no matter what. I mean, I don't think there's a single game out there that's worth $80. And no, Nintendo doesn't get the pass from me on that one. I think they definitely are overcharging for this. But yeah, okay, with that Band-Aid ripped off, let's get into the actual game here. These are my first impressions with the game, again, from just a couple of hours of playing, just full transparency. I don't think my opinions have fully solidified about this game yet, and they've already changed quite a bit since I started playing. So let's kick it off from the top. Okay, so I'm recording this after I actually finished recording this entire thing, but it's something I wanted to bring up right from the very start, because I think it's something that this game does really well, that I think that a lot of people might take for granted, that honestly I took for granted until I really sat here and thought about it, like, hey, yeah, this is a good thing that I should bring up. One thing that I think this game does very well is it really just keeps you in the game. It keeps the gameplay moving. What do I mean by that? Well, there's very little menu interference and navigation throughout this game. So, if you're gonna go play online, you select your mode and then you get thrown into the free roam and you drive around until your race is ready. There's no sitting around waiting and watching. You still get to play, even if there's not really a lot to do. I mean, you get to play the game, and I like that a lot about this game. It really strives to keep you engaged, and I think it does it well. Okay, back to everything that was recorded before this. I will fully admit, I didn't really have the strongest first impressions with this game. It was Mario Kart. I was having fun, about as much fun as you expect to have with Mario Kart, I kicked it off with the Grand Prix, okay? I played through all of the different cups because I wanted to experience as much of it as I could, and as quickly as I could. And, well, let's start here, okay? The tracks are fun. I really like all the tracks that are in this game, sort of. I say sort of because I've really only gotten about one lap on most of them, or at least a good chunk of them, the majority, because this game really pushes the intermissions. That's a big feature that Nintendo is really trying to get across with this game. So, the first course in each cup, you do 3 laps around, but then for all the rest of the tracks in a cup, the first couple of laps are on the intermission tracks, and then you do 1 lap around the course that you're racing to. And I'll say this, I like the intermissions so far. I feel like there's a decent amount of them that don't really do a whole lot to keep it interesting. They feel very wide and empty a lot of the time, and I think it causes a lot of this game to kind of just blend together in my mind, and I'm a little bit conflicted on how to feel, because I think I'm trying to look at this from the perspective of Mario Karts of old, but it's very clear that this game is trying to do something that's kind of different. So I am sort of still trying to wrap my mind around that, and I think with that sort of context in mind, the intermissions are growing on me a little bit. I'm gonna just say straight up though that, there are definitely times where I found myself wishing that I could just race on the tracks more. I was under the impression going into this game that you would have the option to turn the intermissions off if you wanted and just do the Grand Prix, the standard 3-lap structure for all the different courses. And that's actually not here. That's not an option, at least not as far as I can tell. Maybe I'm missing something, something, but I definitely didn't see that as an option. So yeah, you know, like, kind of a little bit mixed on Grand Prix as a mode so far. Like, I think it's fun, you know, again, it's Mario Kart. It's about as much fun as you expect Mario Kart to be, and with up to 24 racers, it can get pretty chaotic, but I think it's a fun kind of chaotic. I like the intermissions. I'll get more into my thoughts about those in a bit. There's a section coming up where I'll get a little bit more into that, but let's talk about the trick system a little bit. That's sort of the big new mechanical change to Mario Kart, and honestly, it's easily the best addition, in my opinion, to this game, to this series. It's so much fun getting to hop around. You find different things to like drive on the grind rails, you know, you drive on walls and do tricks and get boosting and drive up the side of a bridge, you know, the San Francisco Bridge or whatever, jump through some hoops and start flying. That shit is a lot of fun. It's seriously like the main thing that sets this game apart from all the other Mario Karts and gives it a bit more of an identity of its own. It's a blast, like, just straight up, it's a blast. Well, let's talk about the characters a little bit now, the character selection. I like the roster, I really do. I'm also a little bit conflicted about this as well. Only a handful of characters get costumes in this game, which we knew about going into it, and I didn't really mind that a ton before going into this game, but in practice, you can definitely feel it. I'm pretty sure there's more characters on this roster that don't have costumes than characters that do. What makes this a little bit of a sore spot to me is that, you know, there are these lunch bags or whatever that you collect through these drive-thrus, and you know, you pop them, you get like a little bit of a speed boost from them, and you unlock a new costume for characters that do have costumes, and that's fun. But oftentimes these lunch bags are a little bit out of the way, so there's a little bit of like a risk-reward thing going on there. But if you're playing as a character like, say, the Goomba, or the Pianta, or any of these like NPC side characters, there's not really much incentive for you to go out of your way to grab these at all, really. I mean, you'll get like a little boost, but you would have probably been better off just maintaining the course and staying with the flow of traffic, you know? And then on top of that, Donkey Kong and Pauline, they got totally skimped out on this one. They only get one costume each. Now, I have a theory about this, one that many of my fellow DK fans are also thinking about. If the leaked render for Donkey Kong Bonanza is anything to go off of, it seems like Pauline might be positioned more as a Donkey Kong character moving forward. And you know, we're seeing Pauline paired up with Donkey Kong characters in many different instances when she's appearing in games now. Obviously, Donkey Kong Bonanza is right around the corner. The developers were even being rather coy about if Diddy Kong would make an appearance in this game. And again, DK and Pauline with one costume each. It seems plausible that Nintendo is going to do some sort of content update at some point that's going to add more costumes in for Pauline and Donkey Kong, and maybe even add some more Donkey Kong characters. And on paper, I think that's fine. That sounds fun. I also have some concerns about that, though. It'd be one thing if Nintendo's charging $80 for this game because they also intend to, you know, give back to the players for their investment. But that's not how business works. And that's not how Nintendo is operating in the modern day. They're operating on making as much money as they can, hand over fist. So I do worry a bit if they're going to nickel and dime the shit out of this game for like new costumes and characters and all that kind of stuff. Like, I could maybe I could understand charging for new courses, like that makes sense. But even stuff like costumes, like, come on, you could add those to the game for free. I think even adding a trickle of characters for free is reasonable. It's a reasonable expectation. Because at the end of the day, characters don't even really change that much about driving around in this game, you know? The courses where all the major time and investment go, that makes a little more sense to charge for. So I don't know, we'll have to wait and see what happens there, but anyway, moving on. After I got done with all the cups in the Grand Prix, you know, I was feeling a little bit lukewarm towards the game. Like, I liked it, but nothing was really jumping out at me as, like, I don't know, nothing really gave me that wow factor. I'll admit, I don't think anything really ever did, but I can tell you this, the Knockout Tour is definitely the most fun that I've had with this game so far. It's intense, you know, trying to make sure that you place high enough to be able to continue racing. It's thrilling, it's a lot of fun, and it's chaotic, man. It's insane. Items are flying everywhere, people are bashing into each other. It's a ton of fun. And it by far makes the best use of the intermission tracks. This is where, like, I started to see the vision here, okay? I was like, okay, I can get this. I can get behind this. And honestly, like, to tell you the truth, I think that the intermission tracks probably would have been better just staying relegated to this knockout tour, because it almost feels like a completely different Mario Kart game. I don't feel like the intermission tracks serve the Grand Prix all that well. I'm telling you, I don't really mind the intermission tracks in the Grand Prix to like a detrimental degree. I just wish I had the option to be able to just do the standard 4-course layout, you know? That's where the real thought went into the course design and all that fun stuff. Not to say that there's zero thought put into the intermission tracks or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying, but they feel a bit more barren and they stand out quite a bit next to the actual game courses. But yeah, the knockout tour, like, you're just constantly racing. You're just on this massive stretch of road, basically, is what it is, you know? You're zipping around, you're trying to find the best way to get ahead of your opponents, to make sure that you place, and you get to continue on with the race. It's a blast. This is the best mode in the game, in my opinion. I'm having a ton of fun with that, and I'm looking forward to getting back in, diving back into it. Unfortunately, I do gotta say, my fears about the free roam are kind of being realized a little bit. It is chill, you know, it's a chill little side thing that you can do, but it's definitely not where I'm gonna be spending the bulk of my time with this game, I don't think. I will say, it is kind of nice to unwind with it a little bit after you go through an intense, heart-bumping knockout tour, you know? You can just drive around a little bit and find some P-switches and do some silly little missions. And the P-switch missions, they can be fun. Some of them are actually pretty tricky, too. Like, some of them can be pretty tough, require a bit of mastery for this game and its mechanics. And I think I would actually feel more positively about it if it weren't for a couple little hiccups. The map sucks. There's no indication of where the P-switches are located on the map. You have no idea where the ones are that you completed. You have no idea where the ones are that you haven't completed. Now, it'd be one thing to, you know, drive around the world and explore and try to find the ones that you haven't done. Okay, but give me some sort of indication. How many are nearby at least? And at the very, very least, like this should be a bare minimum here. Show me the ones that I have completed. Why is that not a thing? So that's kind of lame. That's a little bit lame right there. You do see the number of P-switches that you've completed, but no idea where they are. So that's a thing. There's panels that you can drive over to, and yeah, again, you can only see the amount that you've driven over, not where they're located. And outside of those missions, there's not really anything to do in the open world besides these challenges. It's such a big, sprawling world, and like, man, it would be fun to really feel like I could get in here and explore every nook and cranny and find all kinds of goodies. It's a beautiful world. It's a visual marvel, but it's kind of just all window dressing, you know? Because when you get down to it, there's not really like a ton to do, and that's kind of a little bit disappointing. And the only reward for doing the things that there are to do in the world is stickers. You get stickers. You know, I was saying before the launch of this game that I really didn't mind that they were doing away with like the cart customizations, because, you know, they could make more deliberately designed carts for this game, just like the days of old. And I was behind it initially, but you know, when you think about it, that would have been a really good incentive to go out and explore this world and do some of these challenges, unlocking cart parts. It would have been something extra on top of stickers, at least, you know? So yeah, with no indication of where things are at on this map, it's basically a completionist nightmare, which really stinks for a guy like me who likes to, you know, try to complete his games. And you can't even really do anything with friends either in the free roam. I mean, you can drive around. Yep, That's what you can do. That's what you can do with your friends. Unfortunately, like, I feel like the free roam and this open world, it has a lot of potential. Just a lot of untapped potential. Maybe they can update this game to allow you to do a bit more over time. But as of now, yeah, the free roam, kind of a mixed bag. It can be fun, mostly just when you're doing the P-switch missions, you know? Because when you're done, you kind of are just left to wander aimlessly and hope you stumble across another one. That's really all there is to it. But speaking of playing with friends, going back a little bit, the online, the online is also kind of a little bit of a mixed bag. I feel like I'm saying that a lot about this game, and like, that's kind of unfortunate. I do want to emphasize that I'm having quite a bit of fun with this game. I think it's solid. I think it's a good game. It's just flawed. It's not perfect, you know. It is continuing to grow on me the more that I play it. There are just some things that could be ironed out. But yeah, the online. So I haven't had like a ton of time to try to play online with friends or anything yet, mostly because I don't really know a lot of people who have it other than my wife and my DK crew. That's what I'm gonna call them now. They're my DK crew, and I haven't had a chance to play with them yet. So lobbies, you know, are fine to set up and make and all that kind of stuff. You know, getting all of us together, and you know, you can select what mode you want to do, whether it's a Grand Prix, Knockout Tour, Battle Mode, which I also haven't touched yet. I don't know that I will play Battle Mode. I just don't really. That's never been my thing. But funny enough, we had some disconnects like pretty early on, which, you know, it was like 3 of us. It was 3 of us in a lobby, filled up the rest with CPUs. We're paying $80 now for the family plan, you know, the online family plan, and we're having disconnects like that. Come on, Nintendo. So like, you know, private lobbies are one thing, and we didn't actually try to do like regular online Grand Prix together, but we did try to group up for some online competition in the Knockout Tour. But it actually seems like that's not possible to do at this time, which, well, that sucks. Like, racing against your friends, racing against each other, that's fun, but it's nice to have a little bit of extra competition with just other players around the world too, you know? But as of now, it doesn't seem like it's possible to join up on each other when somebody is in Knockout Tour or just in the regular online mode. Yeah, kind of a bummer. I hope they update that, and I hope they change that at some point. But when I am just playing online by myself, you know, doing Grand Prix or Knockout Tour, it's good fun. It's also some of the most fun that I've had with the game so far. Racing against CPUs just isn't really the same as like racing against other real people online. And again, that Knockout Tour, it gets so intense, especially online. It's a ton of fun. So I think I've touched base on like most of the things that I wanted to talk about this game, but I wanted to save the best for last. The actual best for last. This is the best part about Mario Kart World. The soundtrack is absolutely phenomenal. It's the best part of the game, hands down. The arrangements of so many music tracks, so many classic Nintendo music tracks, Mario music tracks. Not even just Mario, there's stuff from Wario Land, there's stuff from Yoshi. They're some of the best in Nintendo history, some of the best arrangements. And unfortunately, because I have a double ear infection, it's been a little bit harder for me to like be able to dial in and hear the music super well. Everything's kind of a little bit muffled for me right now because I'm doing eardrops, so that kind of stinks. But after this is all cleared up, which I'm hopefully like starting to get over, the pain has subsided, and that's the most important part to me. I can live with the muffled hearing for now. Yeah, hopefully after it's out of the way, I'll be able to really soak in that new soundtrack to its fullest, because man, it's so good. But unfortunately, there is a slight downside here to it as well. The music's great, it's so good, but there's no option to select which songs that you listen to, which I feel like was a missed opportunity. Why isn't there like a Mario Kart radio option or something like that, you know? Cycle through like the songs. I put together a little music playlist for the songs that you want to hear while you're driving around in the world, you know? Such a missed opportunity. And again, maybe that's something they can add in a future update, I don't know. So yeah, that's pretty much my initial thoughts about this game. I know it sounded kind of like a really big mixed bag is kind of how I made it sound, but I will say, like, the game's growing on me. It definitely is. Like, I have I have stronger positive feelings about it now than I did whenever I first started. And I'm eager to jump back into it and play some more. I think it's just kind of a matter of like getting rid of the preconceived notions about what a Mario Kart should be and trying to embrace a bit about what this game is trying to be, you know? So I'm kind of still working my way through that a little bit, so trying to sift through my feelings, but I will say, like, it's starting to really grow on me. I mean, I'm having a good time, if nothing else. Like, take that away, if nothing else, from this. If you like Mario Kart, you'll have a good time with this. $80 is pretty steep. I don't think it's quite worth that, but it's a fun game. That's the yeah. I think I covered just about everything I wanted to. I hope I did. For those of you out there who managed to get your hands on a Switch 2 and Mario Kart World, what are your thoughts? How are you feeling? How are you feeling about Mario Kart World so far? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. Really helps these videos out big time. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe. I'm gonna do some more Mario Kart videos and streams in the future. Definitely gonna stream again, probably in the next couple of days. So probably stream some Knockout Tour. I didn't get to do that on stream yesterday. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys in the next one.